All right.
Assalamu alaikum, Chris. How you doing?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm well, Sam. I'm well. Thank you for this chance to chat here.
This is
MashaAllah.
absolutely an interesting topic we're going to be talking about this evening.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cut it really short, and because for some reason, whenever we say Christopher, we say Chris the convert, Chris the revert. So let's start with that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What exactly convert versus a revert we're talking about, and walk us a little bit quickly, if you don't mind, in a few minutes.
Yeah,
about your journey,
I can kind of.
Your journey to that, please.
Okay, all right. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I just want to also first start off with acknowledging that we're here on Blackfoot Confederacy land. And, you know, we have the wonderful privilege of living, working, and playing here. And I just wanted to give acknowledgement to the people that have been the ancestral caretakers of this land. And God willing, we'll be able to, you know, get ourselves more and more in touch with those folks too.
Absolutely.
As we should. But now at that, I also like to do something when I do talk about the religion and the potential to reach other audiences is to kind of have this idea of the no knowledge rule. And that's that's kind of in the circles that I work in and things like that, is that we may use like terms from Arabic and stuff like that. So if we use an Arabic term, and we need to catch ourselves and actually try to define it for the audience, because not everybody is knowledgeable about Arabic and maybe even other cultural terms. So therefore, if you catch me, and I catch you, I'm going to stop you and we're going to define it so that we can reach everybody. And assalamu alaikum, hayrak, mashallah. So here we go. The question, convert, revert, man. So I've been a Muslim for now. So here we go. I've been a Muslim for, alhamdulillah, since 2009.
MashaAllah.
So when it comes to, there is always an interesting debate to be had about the idea of what's a convert, what's a revert. Now, some folks, how would you say this? They end up preferring the term revert because of the whole idea of the fitra, the fitra. And I'm going to define that. The fitra is that innate nature that we in Islam believe that we are born upon the authentic belief that there is one God.
Right.
And that we have that natural inclination. So the word fitra kind of lends itself to that term, natural inclination. Right. So when somebody embraces Islam, some people say they reverted to Islam, which is, you know, an accurate way to put it. But in many ways, it also is inaccurate, because what happens is that if somebody has been brought up in another kind of religious doctrinal way or path, they in fact do convert. Like, you know, they do have the fitra, but then that's kind of washed out of them in a way. And then if they do adopt Islam, they kind of are converting to something. I would say, and this is a personal definition and not really a technical or scholarly one, but I could make an argument that people who are born Muslims and actually lapse from their religion and then come back to the religion are reverts. Whereas the person who's maybe just brand new to Islam and that's not been their way of life ever, they have converted. Now, I put some other parameters around that idea too, is like, I kind of like to consider a convert somebody who's maybe been Muslim for like 1, 2, maybe 3 years. Because then if we just always attach the word convert to the person, it kind of is paternalistic. It's like you're still a baby. Whereas there are some people, I'd say their level of religiosity when they embrace Islam can, how would you say, it's really, it grows and it changes and it peaks and it valleys.
So, Chris, when you say, or when people introduce you as, I mean, you're a born Christian. You converted to Islam in 2009, and you've been Muslim for 11 years, and that's how I'm seeing it. Like this is the normal. subconscious way of talking to you without
That's right.
thinking about how right I am, how sensitive these words that I'm using, because I really am walking into a very uncharted territories for me.
Yeah.
I know you, Chris, you're a good guy, but that's something I'd like to explore more about you and about that transformation, if you will. So
in essence, the way that kind of works is that when people assume like I came from a Christian background, they're partially right. I was raised in a Christian society. I have a Christian name. My father was Roman Catholic. My mother, grew up in the Baptist and United Church. Right. But growing up as a child, I wasn't necessarily a church-going kid. I mean, we did Christmas, we did Easter, Right. They were normal cultural things that we did. Right. And then, so therefore, was it really affiliated with a lot of religious stuff? Not too much. I mean, when I was in grade 4 and I was going to Pine Ridge Community School at that time, I was Joseph, the husband of Mary, when the nativity play, when they used to do nativity plays in public school, right. Which they don't anymore. And that was about it. And then I had some experiences. I had a grandmother that was a Mormon. She took me to Mormon LDS church, Latter-day Saint church, like a few times a year, tried to get me into that. And then also had friends who were, said, "Hey, Chris, we have lots of fun on this Bible camp. Why don't you come?" So I went to that. But I remember, I look back at it now. One of the camp counselors said, "Chris, why don't you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior?" And I literally said to him, "I don't understand how he can be God and the Son of God at the same time." Mm-hmm. And this is me as a 9-year-old kid going, there's a logical fallacy here, and I don't understand, so I'm not going to go with it. Right. But nonetheless, it wasn't like, a formalized Christian lifestyle. In my teens, I kind of got brought into the world of what's called religious science and a lot of new age stuff through family. And that was a trip in a sense. Like, it was kind of weird, crystals and ascended masters and all this kind of stuff. And then that led to learning more about, by that time I was in my mid-20s. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go to university for some communication studies classes. And at that time I was like, Vajrayana Buddhism, that's mine. Right. That's that kind of Buddhism is the kind that the Dalai Lama ascribes to and leads, right? The diamond path. Mm-hmm. It was very much alluring to me. It made sense. But then as I started to get deeper, it was totally full of cultural and also animistic type things that I just felt like. And animism meaning like it's a form of religion that has relation to, deifying animals, right? Which is kind of like, it was like, because of the Tibetan Buddhism that we see now has elements of an old ancient religion called Bon, which was normative in Tibet. So therefore, like, I was kind of like looking at this and going, this still doesn't make sense. And then eventually, like, and then here's where everything kind of flipped. The reason why I kind of went into the whole Buddhist thing is because I had a huge love for the Tibetan sovereignty cause, right? The freedom of Tibet. And I realized at university, there's nobody here to be an activist with. So I didn't join up with that group. Okay. Well, amazingly. So I'm getting to it. Sure. The last one is that I was then around some people who were amongst the Palestinian cause. And then there we go. That was my first foray into meeting Muslims in a formal setting. Okay. Well, Chris, I know there's a lot of people out there who share their stories and their journey from one religion to another, and it's especially when talking about reverting or converting to Islam, and there's so many experiences out there. Mm-hmm. But I always ask myself that question: is number one is not really like how and why this person converted or did this. Mm-hmm. I always ask myself, what happened
after they do this. So before I would like you to answer that question, because you've gone through the process. Like I was born Muslim myself,
Yes.
and I've gone through the whole process of so-called born, raised, taught everything, and then at the later age, I have to do a little bit of thinking and deep search into to grind myself into the faith and try to understand everything. So I've gone through that process just like anybody else, I would say.
So go ahead. Yeah.
So for you as a convert or a reader, can you just tell us, like, let's say 1 week of Chris the revert versus let's say Christopher or Joseph?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
just I want to know. I want to get that experience right after. What exactly happened there? I mean, between you and you.
Okay, so in my particular case, and I will say first and foremost, I'm very comfortable with talking about my embrace of Islam. Okay. And now the topic of talking to people and asking them their story is a different topic, and that's kind of got us a kind of thing around manners about that. But now, because me and you, I'm cool with it, and I'm actually fine with sharing it. I mean, I was around people who are Muslim activists, and I was in a seeking mode because I was seeking a religion to be a part of it after about a 15-month process of humming and hawing and thinking about it and asking questions.
Right.
And then I was around these folks within the SPHR at the University of Calgary. And then at the end of a meeting, I said to my friend Anas, I said, "Okay, guys, do you mind delivering my shahada right now?" And so the thing is, it was kind of something on my terms. I had a lot of people prior to that, sitting in the cafeteria of McEwen Hall going, "Chris, what's your delay? How come you have these doubts? This is just Satan," and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'll do it when I'm ready, when I really feel that I can actually, I want to, like, how I can feel like I'm ready to embody this, because taking that step to embody being a Muslim is a big one. There's lots that goes along with it. And it's not to mean that it's scary, but for me personally, I'm very pushy with myself. And it's not like I can just go, oh, I intellectually think about it. And I believe it, but I also wanted to be familiar with a lot of the practices. So what happened was I felt very good and happy. I was around the direct people that were responsible through their character. And I want to highlight that, is that their character really mattered. When you meet people and their character is excellent as Muslims, that's really that's the legwork of the dawah. It's really not the dawah, meaning the inviting to Islam, because I can see he's a really wonderful person. Anas, Shadi, all these people like around me were good folks. And what happened is that it just go like, this makes sense. And I'm gonna adopt this religion because everything else, all the information about it really kicked in and plugged into my heart. And then from there, it was just like, okay, I'm a part of this community, and what else can I do? And I just felt happy. I felt at home. I felt like I could, I had a path and a purpose in life.
Right.
Whereas like, I think prior to that, you can't, like, I was a seeker, and I'm like, what does this all mean? What am I here for? Right. And that was my kind of seeking. I was really questioning those kinds of things, and Islam really kind of filled in a lot of those blanks for me.
So I think that's maybe in partially respond to Simon Jamal's question is what attract you to finally accept? What exactly that attracted you to accept this faith?
It's Islam. I mean, through the Quran, it's logically sound. Okay, right. There are things in it. It really hammers home, like God's words, Allah's words are really put down the fact that look, I understand you because you're my creation. Here is how to be. Here is how to do. Here is how to act. And through looking at that, and then also seeing that manifest in the lives of people that I was meeting, I was like, well, this makes sense. Like, they've got family, they've got great economic and business communities going on. They have activism within their community. And it just was like, this makes sense. And then the other thing is, it's just like, I guess the other part of that was just like, okay, where do I find my niche, my home within this? But also there, I'm a very pushy person when it comes to learning stuff. So therefore I'm like, tried to make sure that I put myself through some sort of learning opportunities, being that, in a local sense. So, that's how that kind of works. I mean, I guess it just like, it made sense. It's logically sound. It shows how mankind can live. And then also it's like, if you take away all the technological trappings of life, and if you were to set mankind back to, into the Stone Age, so to speak, you could hold up the Quran and the Sunnah and go, in the ways of Prophet Muhammad, and you can go, here's how to go. Here's the way forward.
Yeah. So Sammy here, Sammy said, Chris, you are a true Muslim. And then you are a true Muslim, then us, because it's your choice to be, but for us, we were born Muslim family and proud to be. So I'll
push back on him then. Because actually, I mean, you also have a choice. I mean, yes, you're born into it, Sam, of course, or Sammy, you're born into it. However, there's lots of people every day that choose not to believe, which is a really sad thing. And the reason why they're probably choosing not to believe it is because they've had, maybe I'm going to say honestly, like they've had traumas in their life that have actually put them really like questioning things. And then what happens, that's what's happening to a lot of youth these days.
Right.
And so they get put through trauma in their psychology, trauma in their body, trauma in their spirituality. And then they end up shaken when they see tragedies in the world, and they see that, you know what, this guy, he's atheist and he does whatever he wants and he's happy. So I'm going to jump into that. The thing is, if you have the choice, and I'll say this, born Muslims who maybe are shaken or have fallen off Islam have the opportunity to always, we always, when we do our daily prayers, we're always saying some form of the shahada, that witnessing statement, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. We're saying that somewhere in our day. And the thing is, it's like, just reflect on it and really go, this is really,
yes.
Yeah.
So Dr. Faiza, definitely, she's really happy to that you're here with us today. And I think you said you are one of the chosen people of Allah. May Allah bless you and give you istiqamah. So definitely, Chris, talk about religion. For me, and faith. It's not easy to bring, or even to talk about it in any shape or form, especially in a public forum like this, because people can take your every word, you might say it in so many directions. Plus, as you know, religion is so dear to our heart. It's like who we are, identify who we are. So it's not, you cannot really discussing it like, as I said, as if like any topic. Very sensitive talking about it, especially for somebody who gone through I call it transformation versus revert or convert, because it is it's really hard. But for us Muslims, and I have to admit this, when we see somebody joining our faith, it takes so much. We get so much happy. So you get so much love, you get so much support, and people make you feel that you are very welcome. Is that something you felt it like when you converted? You felt so
absolutely
welcome?
Look, the Calgary community is a blessed one. There's lots of love and there was lots of respect, and there continues to be, alhamdulillah. All praises due to Allah. But at the end of the day, there is also some issue with that too, because the people that come out of the woodwork when you do your shahada, sometimes they want to be your friend and they want to they want to get that iman shine off of you. You're like, they're just like, oh man, this guy's the bright shiny star, and he's giving me some iman, and they show up for that, and then they may trade a phone number with you, and then you don't hear from them, afterwards, which is a shame. It's a shame that it happens, but let's see here. What can I say? There is a problem. There is one slight problem with, shahadas that happen. Right. And I'm going to define this for everybody. Shahada means when somebody says that statement to accept Islam, because that's all that's required. There's no baptism. There's nothing, no holy water, nothing like that. You just say the Shahada. Okay. So what happens is that people will embrace it, and they like to. Here's the one thing that really is crazy. I don't like seeing is when that when it happens in a mosque or a public forum, all of a sudden the cell phones come out and we're recording that guy's shahada or that woman's shahada. Mm-hmm. Please, people, do not do that. Okay? Okay. Reason one, you could be jeopardizing the bodily safety and security of that person if you decide to share that video with somebody. Oh, wow. What if they have a family member that hates Muslims and whatnot, right? And then all of a sudden they show up on the internet doing their shahada. Dangerous, right? We're doing it. People do it because they want a piece of iman, and they're like, this is great. I'm watching this person do their shahada. But I mean, Allah protects us, of course. But the thing is, it's like, we also have to do our effort to make sure people are safe. So don't record shahadas if you do not have the permission. And if that person has asked a specific person, I actually encourage, if there's anybody who does end up embracing Islam eventually, and you ask this, please just always designate one person to record your shahada if you want it recorded. Right. Because the thing is, that's personal, and that's between you and yourself. And if that gets, just used as like clickbait on the internet, it's annoying. Right. I know there's a brother in Calgary that he consistently has his story from back home in England posted on the internet by a particular dawah-based show all the time. And it's like, he never gave his permission for this. Right. So this is the struggle. Like, I respect that people want to share their stories, and there's also wonderful stories in the hadith, those chains of transmission about who embraced Islam, but that's different. That's word of mouth. That is not a physical image of somebody being shared. And so there's a little trouble with that. So I just say, please, as a point of, caution, don't record shahadas unless you have the permission of the person doing it. Please. It's just really kind of bad. It seems so like, oh, let's record this. It's like we're at a concert and I'm going to keep this for myself and make myself feel happy with it. That person is not a piece of candy. They're not a chocolate bar to be consumed and then the wrapper thrown away. They are there actually going through a process, not an event.
So, well, thanks for the tip. I mean, I did not even know about this, but I think that's a good advice. Before, if you are if you witness somebody's taking shahada, or just make sure that you make sure that he's okay with that before you publish it. And that's an advice from Christopher. Yeah. On a different note, Chris, my name is Osama, but I had to change my name publicly and go Sam because it caused a lot of trouble for me. So a lot of us, Muslims who come to North America, we like to, but whether we like it or not, somehow we end up being Sam and Mo and Joe. And
You're
Jack.
Culturally appropriating my names.
Yes. So I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, why my name is Sam and somebody who, let's say, a convert, would be, let's say, Bob or John, he will change his name to Ahmed or Muhammad or something. Is it like, how do you explain that? Like, is it me trying to fit in and the other side is trying to fit out, or?
Yeah, we're all trying to fit in.
Okay.
We're all trying to fit in. Oh wow, there's Tony from England, mashallah.
Oh hey Tony, hi to UK.
Wow, 2 a.m. mashallah. And so, yeah, like it's about changing names, So yeah, it's about fitting in. Honestly, the immigrant mentality can be easily a hard. It's hard because it's like the studies show that people do get passed over on resumes and phone calls and lots of stuff.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
Abdul Abbas, would you please respect the forum and respect the people that join in here? This is not a debate about other things, if you don't mind, because otherwise I have no choice but to delete this comment and block the conversation. So please, would you please, Mr. Abbas, just respect the people that here. We're here to have a civil conversation that's going to bring people together and not going to divide people. So
like we're not trying to be
doing that.
We're not trying to be perennialists here, but at the end of the day, if you guys want to chat like that, please do it maybe in a private forum.
Right.
Yeah.
Please. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's there's the struggle of that. So and on the convert side of things, the revert side of things, often it's just a misunderstanding of hadith, because sometimes they'll have Muslims around them that say you need to have a Muslim name.
Right.
And there's debate about that, and it's legitimate. I mean, the tradition that I understand from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is that he would change the names of people who had literally bad names.
Right.
Somebody with the name like Dirt or Mud, it's just something that's not dignified, right?
Right.
Just to give vague examples of that. But, so the thing is, like, okay, well, call yourself Jamil, meaning beautiful, like in the male vernacular, like that kind of thing. There's also problematic Christian names. Like, I do have the name Christopher, but it means the person who buries the message of Christ. So I can kind of finagle it and still say, well, my parents named me that, and I don't want to actually, cut ties with them and make them feel upset about a name change. And then also I can just say, like, Christ, well, we have love for Jesus, peace be upon him, also known as Isa. Right. So therefore, there we go. Like, my name has got a similar kind of thing. But if I was born with the name Christian, yes, I would have changed it. Maybe, because it has that direct meaning. It has a direct meaning that doesn't facilitate or befit a Muslim character.
Right. Well, I do have to say that I was born, my parents named me Osama, and I love my name, but I have to say this, I struggled so much with it back in the 90s.
It's a beautiful name.
I really struggled so much.
The lion that pounces, man.
So true. But again, I mean, as you said, we're trying to fit in, right? I was trying to fit out. And so especially since 1997 forward, it was so hard for me just even to keep that name, because it's associated with so much with the New York.
Mr. Bin Laden.
Right. So when I say just my name, even if I want to say my name is Osama, it will not stop right there. It always does Osama bin Laden, blah blah blah, all stuff. So it was just like something it's not like whether I wanted it or not, but I changed it to Sam.
Yeah.
And as I said, just to fit in.
Yeah. I get it, and that happens on our side of the fence on that too. I mean, it's to fit in, and it's also pushed upon us by some people. Right. And then Sister Wasila, she's made a point there, like the name Omar, and lots of other names are not originally Muslim names. Like Ibrahim is not technically an Muslim Arab name. It's a name that is actually from antiquity that has been transposed into the Arab language. Yeah. Musa, and Isa, so at the end of the day, those prophetic names are just so super old that they're not even Muslim.
Yeah, but politically, we're so charged these days.
Yeah.
You always connect the name to an image that you have in your mind.
That's right.
And you've been programmed for so many years to think that way. So when you think of Osama, like, you don't think Osama Nammoura as much as you think of Osama bin Laden. And that comes with the package, right?
That's true. But I've known some great Osamas in my first 12 years of being a Muslim. So at the end of the day, somebody like Osama bin Laden, is not at the forefront of my mind. But I know on on a cultural standpoint, on a global culture, it's got its problems, and I totally understand and feel for the struggle you have, right?
Okay. So Christopher, you're
Yeah.
a Muslim,
Yeah.
and now you have other people outside, those who are Muslims and those who known you before. How the community or the people you know receive that steps you took, especially from your circle of, let's say, relatives
Okay.
and people and stuff? Was it easy? Was it hard, or in between?
It was in between for me, and I thank God for that. Thankfully, my mother very much is an open-minded woman who kind of was so open-minded that her presence in my life did not interrupt my innate seeking for God. Right. So it didn't disrupt that. She actually encouraged me to be spiritual in a way, which then led me on that spiritual seeking path. So I think that was the beautiful thing there. But when I did embrace Islam, she did kind of go, oh my gosh, he finally did it. Because I've been talking about it for like a year plus. Right? I'm going to become a Muslim. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But what ended up happening is that, there was still that cultural thing, like, oh, but you're going to be affiliated. You're going to be like, she knew that same kind of idea with the naming. It's like, if you're a part of this group, you might get backlash. You know what I mean? Because she understood that kind of thing. So, and in some ways too, I mean, my father, he was kind of like shocked about it too. And he was like, whoa, like, where did this come from? And he lives in another province and everything like that. So at the end of the day, like, I mean, I was a man in my middle 20s. So at the end of the day, like, I'm making a decision for myself. I'm not some sort of gullible person who has, severe vulnerabilities that I made a decision in, a decision in grave error. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fully mentally present about what I was doing. And so the response from people was kind of tough. I mean, I had even a few friends that were kind of like questioning me, and it did put me off, and it made me sad because I felt them slipping away. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't have many non-Muslim friends anymore, but that's not necessarily a horrible thing, because I have lots of wonderful born Muslim friends. And it's not to say that my non-Muslim friends or family members are beneath me, or they're not the kind of people that or people that I despise or dislike. It's just like, at the end of the day, I'm just way more compatible with the Muslim lifestyle, Muslim community, than the non-Muslim community, because I don't go out and do the standard operating procedure of Joe Canadian.
Right.
So it was, thank God it wasn't as tough. There are people, I think, when people do embrace when people are younger and are in their parents' home and they're teenagers and they're looking to embrace, that's a dicey situation, because there's lots of youngsters that can be tossed out of home for that particular situation. And then there's also people who I think sometimes are, oh, you can't hear it. Some people are complaining about it's not loud enough. How are my levels, folks?
For me, from my end, it sounds good.
Okay, maybe I'll get closer to my mic.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, other people too, like, I'll be honest, there's some people who maybe get in a lot of trouble because of how, let's see here, because they may be vulnerable because of a trauma, right? They may have some mental health issues that have yet to be dealt with. And there's nothing wrong with them embracing Islam. I want to say that first and foremost. But the thing is, sometimes those traumas can then all of a sudden start to inform situations while they're being a Muslim that actually kind of disrupt their, you would say, maybe the ideal way of kind of moving forward with becoming a Muslim.
Okay. So Chris, one of the really what really attracted me to have this conversation is, as I said, because I would like to get into the experience and the mind and the stages that happens after.
Yeah.
You
So the
go
after.
through so
Yeah.
we go with the after, because
Yeah.
we're talking about Christmas. Do you have a question from Mary saying,
Yeah.
how about how you go about Christmas and Eid with your family?
So first and foremost, for anybody who's curious about that, really go to, like, you know, if you can, I don't know if they're recorded, but even if, like, you know, Sheikh Fayaz or any of the local people here, like, have like how to deal with your non-Muslim neighbors during the holidays.
Right.
So I made sure that I put myself into those particular learning situations and learned it, because rather than living my life as some sort of, you know, loosey-goosey perennialist where it's like everything is all good and it's all okay, which is not the way I operate at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, at the end of the day, like I have my brother and my mom. If they want to set up a Christmas tree and they want to invite me over, I may go over, but maybe not exactly on Christmas Day. I've gone over on Boxing Day. I've gone over on Christmas Eve.
Why not? Why not?
At the end of the day,
I go on Christmas. I share Christmas with my Christian friends, and I don't feel about it or think about
that's
it.
right. I've been there on Christmas Day too. It's like, so the thing is, I change it up, like,
Okay.
and the thing is, it's like, it's not necessarily that I'm, you know, and I show up at, we maybe show up at a different time, like, and at the end of the day, I don't create some sort of really serious ritual around it. That's the issue. Right. But because if I was there in my pajamas with my brother and my mom and his family, you know, right in the morning at the base of the tree and ripping presents open, that would start to become problematic, because then I'm all of a sudden turning that into something that I regularly do. And I mean, I'll be honest, like, I started not liking Christmas even previous to becoming a Muslim, even well before becoming a Muslim. I just was kind of growing very tired of what Christmas meant and represented. And then, you know, I'm just like, I'm out. I'm not into this as much, you know? And so, you know, dealing with my family, I give them lots of respect. I mean, for instance, the ties of kinship are important. So, like, the way I've been advised, they say, Chris, if your mom needs your help setting up a tree, you go help your mom set up a tree. And I have no problem with that. Okay. And then when it comes to the whole food thing, my family's pretty good about understanding that my family eats only halal. So the thing is, there may be something cooked separate, or maybe we have brought something separate if we're going to all eat as a family, or they may just cook entirely halal anyway. My mom buys halal anyhow. Like, she's so, you know, that's the kind of thing that's that goes on. And then with Eid, I mean, I'm always inviting them. Like, if they want to come over for an Eid, I'll invite them, but I don't have like a crazy, like, you know, worrisome obligation. Like, they need to join me on it. But if they want to and they want to participate, I think that's a blessed time.
Chris, since 2001, as they say, there's a new world that we live in. And you joined the Muslim faith in 2009. And you dealt with Muslims and all the stuff. And I hear it from people, especially who've gone through the same experience. Is, again, just, you have to give me time, so, because I don't want to
articulate.
I have to be very careful how I
the
phrase
best questions are the slowest questions.
Yeah, because again, as I said, it's not easy to talk about it. So I'm gonna be. Did you find the proper support from your fellow Muslims in their actions and in their words, or mainly? Let's leave it that way. Did you find the proper support from your fellow Muslims in their actions and in their words?
So, yes and no. It sounded so like there's been good supportive people. So I would say like I received the most support by kind of hanging around Sheikh Fayaz a lot and even helping him out with ilm intensives for several years. So that was kind of where I really felt supported, because like that was a place of knowledge and, you know, a regular touch point every so many months. There'd be like an ilm intensive on a weekend, and I'd love learning from that setting because it wasn't just him. It was also even his colleagues that come from that he went to seminary with, like you know, Mufti Abdul Manan and Sheikh Hassan Abdullah. So you know, I think that's where I received a lot of support. But then you know, you see the lack of support when you deal with community. I mean, at one time I was trying to be an activist for the sake of improving the Muslim community. I think it was in 2011, and the crazy community politics was really like, it frightened me quite a bit to see that this was happening, because
what do you mean?
Just like how sometimes dysfunctional the Calgary Muslim community is. And what it is like, I mean, I speak for myself, but I will say anecdotally, a lot of converts kind of like to stay away from the major organizations because they see the political internal turmoil. I know that things are getting rectified, and I'm personally happy to see things like this, and it's not to point fingers at exactly certain people, but in general, when a convert sees a destabilized Muslim community that is not unified, they're kind of like, oh my Lord, what did I do? I'm a part of this group. Like and I know lots of people feel a sense of embarrassment, but the thing is, it's like, okay, who do I turn to? Because there's nobody truly legitimate that I feel comfortable with. And then, I mean, in general, that's kind of the thing that happens. You just feel kind of let down. I mean, other people have lots of different stories about, you know, being let down in certain ways. And there's also like, just, I guess you can make them up, but they come out of anecdotal situations where people get oppressed by going into a mosque and they don't look a certain way because they're a convert, and they're kind of new to stuff, and they don't get the support they need, and they kind of get almost bounced out, or they get kind of like the stink eye, and you know, they don't feel welcome. And here's the thing, like, one thing, being a white Muslim, I'll acknowledge this, we are seen really as two things. To the non-Muslim community, I'm a race traitor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
A race traitor.
Yes, because if you look at the Islamophobe community, I'm white. I was once one of them. But
okay,
I'm not.
And you are.
I'm not living.
I
am. I am. But I'm not living those classic European colonialist values. You know, let's chart a course and that kind of thing. We're not still trying to hang on to that narrative that we built Canada. You know what I mean? I've dropped that from my identity. And that in some ways disturbs a lot of people on that side of the fence, because they're like, he's a race traitor.
Oh,
and then
wow.
Within the Muslim community, this skin and this voice sometimes then scare the born Muslims, because is he CSIS?
Oh, really?
Yes, come on. Yes. Right? Because then I don't want to get involved with that guy. Like, is he a CSIS agent? Is he an informant? This is the kind of stuff that happens a lot in the States too. Right. So we deal with this, you know, and so we have to juggle this new identity where we're being like thrown out of two different communities for specific reasons, right? So you have to really kind of sit with that and be like, do you really care about the Islamophobes? No, not really. And do you really care about being called, you know, a CSIS plant or something like that? At the end of the day, that one hurts a little more, because you're trying to be a part of the community. And you know, sometimes it just all depends on your actions, on how you carry yourself, and how you just kind of like, you know, some people are more diminutive. They may not assert themselves and say, hey, don't worry, I'm not that. You know, and try to reassure that the community is not some sort of thing working against them.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from you
Mhm.
is really when you become a Muslim and you convert a revert, you're and you see all this
Mhm.
dysfunctionality
Mhm.
in some of the communities we
Yeah.
have here. So does that mean that you feel like you're on your own in terms of there's no like really organizations and centers
Oh,
and
that's a big yes, man. That is huge. Yeah, you're on your own. You're on your
you're
own.
on your
Now that doesn't mean we have to be on our own.
yeah
I'm here for myself, but I mean, at the end of the day, I have always tried to take steps to create an atmosphere
right
um, for new Muslims in the community, and not just new Muslims, even born
yeah
Muslims who are looking to reconnect. Because there's also the weird phenomenon of called being unmosqued, where like a
right
born Muslim feels like I don't even belong here too, because it just feels not like home. So
right
therefore they check out and they don't want to be a part of that community. So the thing is, the idea of like what I've done is there's something called New Muslim Circle.
right
Um, it exists here in Calgary, and it kind of takes from this a lot of wise scholarship around the process of conversion that comes out
right
of the United States and England and Canada, puts it all together and tries to create some sort of synthesis that maybe works for Calgary,
right
because what works in the Bay Area of San Francisco may not work in Calgary. What works in England may not work here either. Like, so we have to take, what works best for what's the urf, the cultural standard of the people here, and try to allow them to still try to be Muslim, be Canadian, and
right
also explore what that means. Because me being a Canadian Muslim, not all new converts are a white. Okay, they could be Asian, they could be of African descent, they could be of even South Asian descent. They could
right
come from a Sikh background and then embrace Islam. So there's lots of different variations out there.
oh I see
Mhm.
well, I
And
mean
they come with their own separate challenges too.
so true. But when you talk about the dysfunctional, okay,
The
I think you got that
dysfunction.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dysfunction situation, like where
Mm.
we see signs here and there.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be more wise to get more involved and try to make some changes and influence the situation
Absolutely.
instead of feeling like an outsider and like feeling like, oh my goodness, what I got
Yeah.
myself
And,
into?
and and I'm not here to complain too. Like, at the end of the day, that's what New Muslim Circle functions as for me. I mean, it's been hard with the COVID pandemic. I came off of a training session last October 2019 in the Bay Area to learn about self-care for myself,
Right,
so that when I go and help people, um, I'm not actually going to be disruptive to somebody else's life with my own crap,
right,
right? So therefore, I have to create my own opportunities for self-care, so that when I go and serve people, and if I have an issue, that I'm actually to be reflexive enough to go, oh, that's my own BS, and prevent that from dipping into the environment. Because when somebody does embrace Islam, my role is to remove harm from their way.
so true. Okay,
So and the thing is, in the Calgary sense, what I've been waiting for, and I think we're at that time, is that other organizations within the Muslim community, they reach out to me, and I help out where I can. I'm not expecting. In some communities this works. Like, you have a
right,
mosque and they actually have people on their boards or whatever that are like doing this on a regular basis, and that could be in another part of the world, another part of North America or whatever. But in
right,
Calgary, no, it's not the sense and not that case. But the thing is, what I can offer, and I feel comfortable enough, is that those people kind of filter them, like those organizations filter people to me, and
right,
the hopes that we can build them up.
right,
They can come to Islam. They come as they are to Islam as it is. We build them
right,
up. We give them the Islamic uh, teachings, parameters, and then go, okay, well, here's the community, and here's what you need to
right,
navigate. There's some of the problems you're going to see. we're going to say, like, watch out for this, watch out for that, but then also teaching them how to accept and be grateful for everything else that is there, because it's mainly all good. It's just that sometimes when people see the bad, that's all they'll want to focus on, right? Okay. And it's training their mindset, getting their mindset out of that, and also going, look, I can do a lot more good here. And also, like, for us, where we as converts can come together, and also the born Muslim community who's re-embracing Islam, we have a lot in common. So therefore we just go, okay, like, we're a little bit of a niche community at times, but we can learn from each other and go forward.
Chris, we have 10 minutes left for our time. Yeah. And really the idea is we're trying to learn from each stream. I think really the way I see it is Muslims is just like a stream of all input from different background and different race and different ethnic background, I should say. Mm-hmm. And so and we are here in this beautiful country, and we are in this beautiful city, and we need to find better way to improve our community and make it more more vibrant and more connected to the broader community, and also more engaged. So the questions I have for you is, if you were given the opportunity to, let's say, to give some steps that need to be taken to improve the process, or not, I shouldn't say the process, to improve the connections between community members, especially for those who are new to Islam versus the one who was born. Like, as I said, if ways to improve situation. So what would be those steps that you think, like, we should focus right here, right there, and right here, and right there?
So I think what needs to occur, I think, just at some level, if you feel like you're if the broader community, if a broader community person or a born Muslim is going to, knowingly engage with converts, look to expect anything. Okay. You have to learn how to suspend judgment quickly. You have to kind of, like, because sometimes, like, a convert may come at you with something that is like they do that is not halal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing is, it's like, what happens is they go, oh my God, may Allah forgive me, this is sin, this is a sinful behavior, and it's immediately trying to, like, rectify it. And the thing is, it's important to try to help that person rectify that. But if it's a behavior that's really been, like, a habituated behavior within the person, you got to be really patient, because the whole process is a sense of gradualism. So again, when people enter the mosque, I think what the thing is like, when a born Muslim enters the mosque, I think one of the things that people get kind of put off about is sometimes it seems weird, but speaking a little more plain English to people is one thing. Yeah, that can be a thing. And I know in Calgary, I think for most part, most Friday sermons are delivered majority in English. So, with the proper, amount of Arabic to make it a legalistically correct Friday prayer sermon. So that's done. I mean, there's lots of, some people complain about this. Uh-huh. I think at the end of the day, I gotta say, stop rushing to possibly also get new converts married. That's a problem. We didn't touch on it.
Actually, I was okay. Well, yeah, maybe I should throw in the last one into the and I want the question that maybe is gonna in a way link to this one. Is it harder for a convert female versus for a male? Is it different?
Yeah, they're hard in both ways. So the thing is, with the convert female, often I've been called straight up by guys in the community and said, find me a convert woman to marry. And I'm like, sorry, not going to help you. Because often I end up stopping that because I don't know too many convert females, to be honest. And B, I've just seen too much where divorce ends up happening because she's still like maybe 1 or 2 years into her Islam, and she still doesn't know all of her full rights as a wife. And then all of a sudden she may get railroaded with a whole bunch of like religious stuff, or maybe even cultural stuff. Like if she's not making, the proper dish for her husband the way he likes, that can start actually causing marital strife. And she doesn't cook of course she doesn't cook like your sister or your mom back home because she didn't learn how to cook like that. So there's a lot of cultural negotiation that needs to happen beforehand.
Right. I mean, it happens in all marriages.
It does, for sure. But the thing is, what the dangerous thing is, like as a non-Muslim intercultural marriage, it's just on the paradigm of culture. But when it's a Muslim intercultural marriage, it's on the paradigm of culture and Islam. And then what happens is these people end up doubting their Islam, and then they go, oh my God, why did I become a Muslim? And they attach their Islam to the marriage, and then their faith, their iman dips, and then they may end up not wanting to be Muslim anymore.
Ooh, okay. I mean,
so it's dangerous. So the thing is, I would say, like, honestly, when it comes to the marriage, and then with male converts, sometimes they're not taken seriously, and also the idea of the sadaq, the maher, that can be a little bit oppressively high in marrying a suitable spouse. So the thing is, I'd say wait for converts to be at least 3 or 4 years into their religion and have a good grounding in their religion. Don't oppress them with high mahers as well, like I hate to say dowry, but it's not. But I mean, we know what that's about. That's a great insurance policy if things go to a handbasket situation.
Well, I'd say.
Yeah. So, but it needs to be there, but it needs to not be as oppressive. So the thing is, just at the end of the day, I think there's some other things. If you're going to show curiosity in someone's embrace of Islam, don't expect them as well. This is what puts some converts off, is that asking them, if you've never met them before, asking them for their shahada or their embrace story right away, not good. Get to know them as just a general community member first. And maybe after you've spent at least a good 24 hours, like if you haven't spent 24 hours of your life with that person, to really get to know them as a friend, then I would say maybe hold off on those questions about why they embraced Islam. Like put your iman fix to the side and actually concern yourself with being a friend and support. And then eventually that person will open up about what happened, why it happened, and maybe what they need and how you can support them.
Okay. Well, and Chris, as I said, it's not easy, but I think it's something we need to talk about, and it's going to take a lot of rounds of talking. And so, hopefully that's going to bring some solutions to all the challenges we have.
Inshallah.
So let's say for somebody who interested in knowing more about Islam, or want to know more about like all the steps and all this stuff. Where do you think, being in Calgary here, where do you think would be the place that you recommend for anybody who would like to know more about Islam?
So I think on a general basis, I think the best for like formalized halakas and stuff that has been in existence in the city for the longest time has been the IISC. They've had a great run of situations where they produce really good content that's consistent and high quality. And it's not to put other organizations down in their approach. They are getting better at it every month, every week, at what they do. But I think at the top tier, IISC. And then from there on, what happens is too, like they're good for like, really, I guess, formalized longer form stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate being kind of a self promoter, and I'm not trying to be, is that like a New Muslim Circle. I mean, last year we did 11 weeks and I taught the book Being Muslim to a small class of people
Mm-hmm.
at the downtown Musalla at the Arts Commons. And so I taught that there, and that just went through the basics of how to do everything and be a Muslim, just the basics. And then from there, that's the starting point. And then after there, it's their responsibility to also keep in touch with people like me or their supportive mentor or whatever. Because the thing is, though, one problem that I find is also I'm going to put this onto the convert community, is that if you embrace Islam, also try to be consistent with yourself. It's I have a role in trying to reach out to people, and I do my best. I do my absolute best, and I know that sometimes I may feel like I feel like I fail people all the time. It's just because of my own deficiencies. But that said, I think also some people, I think in my experience, sometimes they just end up not giving a call to whoever is mentoring them, and there's equal responsibility, from both the community and from the convert, because when we're commanded to learn, we're commanded to have knowledge, seek knowledge.
So if we're going to leave this chat with one advice to a larger Muslim community in Calgary, what would be that advice from a convert? Sorry, I don't mean by convert.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to split hairs.
If we're going to just go and say, guys, at least this.
Yeah.
We want this done. So what would that advice would be?
Be available and open to people. That's it. And if it really, and I guess the final thing is that, and if you know that you're not capable, don't run headstrong into it. Okay? Don't seek it because it looks like it's a fun and good thing to do and it has lots of reward, unless you're really certain about it. Because the thing is, the worst damage can be done with lack of attention by somebody.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate the time.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to find ways to talk about the challenges and talk about the goods and the bad and in between. But I do appreciate your time being here.
I appreciate it too.
I want to, on behalf of everybody here, I want to thank you as well. And also I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. So if you don't mind, just stay with me on offline, and we're just going to wrap it up here. So barakallah feek, jazakallah kul khair. And just Assalamu alaikum. I'm just going to leave you with one word or a few words. Jazakumullah kul khair for being here tonight. We tried to shed the light and an experience of a convert to Islam. Inshallah, we'll ask the tougher questions. I can tell you that I did not feel comfortable asking the questions that I have in mind, because it's not an easy stuff to do. Nor I just want to shy away from it. So it's a process that how we're going to learn to. For me, at least, how I'm going to learn to address issues that I feel like is important to be talked about. بتمنى تسامحونا على الأخطاء. بتمنى join us, correct us. If you have any tips, if you have any advice for us, by all means, just feel comfortable to do that. I want to say stay safe. Unfortunately, we lost one brother today. And another thing is, my nephew has a newborn baby. Subhanallah, one here, one there. Anyway, it's life. So jazakumullah kul khair. Tahiyat al-ikun. I'll see you on the next one. I don't know when it's going to be the next one, but inshallah it will be soon. Tahiyat al-jami'a. وتصبحون على خير. Have a wonderful and safe good night, especially with the restrictions being forced as we speak tonight. Tahiyat al-ikun.